topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steo and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon, California. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. We have got a great show for you today, especially if you're in the market, you're looking to buy a home, or maybe you're an investor. And we are going to be talking about mortgages. We're going to be talking about hard money. And we have what I consider the top home loan company in the state of California. The name of the company is P as in Paul, B is in Barry Financial Group. Their offices are in Los Angeles. And I got to tell you, this is like one of the easiest shows for me to do because I can actually I'm going to answer your questions because we get so many of them. And I can just sit back and listen to Pouyan Broukhim speak. Good afternoon, Pouyan.
Hi there, Steve. Good morning. How are you?
I love doing your show because you just break it down. And I know you do this with all your customers. And someone who had just written us before the show from San Jose who watches your show wanting to know if you can you handle all of California. Is that correct?
Yes, we handle all of California, North, Central, Coastal, Southern, Western, every part of California is our playground. We do residential, commercial, land, industrial, warehouses. We do all sorts of different transactions in first and second position in the state. We tried to go into other states previously, and what we learned was we're lucky to be in California. California has a great economy, and it's wide and long, and there's enough business over here that if it's just focused to the California market, we'll have our slice of the pie and do what we do.
Well, you've been doing this for a long time, and I'm going to tell you what that means is people are happy with the customer service, their work, because I've been doing this for 15 years now, Pouyan, and I got to tell you, I've seen companies come and go, and you look at comments on the internet, and it was always customer service people were not happy with, and that is so important to your company.
Well, it should be important to every industry, every big company out there. I mean, without your customers, you're nobody. You know what I mean? You need people to call you. You need people to email you, to trust you in your business. And whatever we can do for our past clients so they can refer us to their future clients and give us positive reviews, and for us to better our service for our future clients, that's the goal. We're without our customers, we're not doing anything. We're just sitting here twiddling our thumb and thinking, hey, when is this going to happen? But if we believe in the service, we believe in the knowledge that we have to provide our customers with lasting investment advice, and for them to trust us and continuously come back to us and refer friends, bring other transaction if they need to refinance, to come back to us and trust us that we're going to take care of them as if they're a brand new client. As always, you got to keep that freshness with your clients and make sure they're happy. They're the life source of your business, any business.
Well, I love the way you handle your clients. We're still getting a lot of letters. People really trust what you say, Pouyan, and we're still getting a lot of letters regarding the fires and what is going on. Any changes at all that you're seeing?
I'm seeing cleanup. I'm seeing a lot of cleanup. I'm not seeing too many sales. Unfortunately, I see people that had their land listed on the market. They've reduced their prices because of this uncertainty that's been created. You still don't know when you're going to get your plans and permits. You still don't know when you're able to build. You don't know after you build when you can occupy the property. Unfortunately, the government, initially when it happened, they said, "Oh, we're gonna do this quickly, and we're gonna
Yes,
streamline processes over here." And unfortunately, that has not happened. It's
I
been like
remember seeing those.
it's been
When the
4 months.
president was there, when the president was sitting there with the mayor of Los Angeles, and she said, "We're going to get on it right away," and that's not happening, is it?
It has, unfortunately, it has not, and everybody wishes that it was a thing. I have a friend of mine who does cleanup over there for some of these lots, and he's like, this place might not be cleaned up for another year and a half to 2 years.
Wow.
There's still debris. Like if you go there, you'll see probably 7 out of 10 lots that still have fire debris on them because either people can't afford to clean up the property, they didn't have insurance, the government hasn't helped out in any way. There's so many different reasons why that cleanup hasn't happened. There isn't enough manpower to be able to do the cleanup. I can go on and on about why that hasn't happened, but it's very unfortunate. And the Palisades is a beautiful area, and
Yes.
God knows when it's going to come back to that glory that it had.
Are they allowing owners in there yet?
They're a lot more lenient with the traffic in and out. It's not like it was initially. What they're saying is that there's still a lot of toxicity in the air and it's very dangerous. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not an expert on environmental disasters, so I can't give you my opinion on
What
that.
about are insurance companies coming back again?
Today, oddly enough, the insurance commissioner approved a 17% rate increase in, I believe, State Farm. So that tells you a lot. That
Yes.
insurance in California is going to be increasing by up to 17%. So whoever has insurance, the cost of acquiring and having that insurance is going to be very significant, and it's only going to increase. So we have additional costs that we're going to be hit with. That's just one insurance company. Everybody else is going to follow suit and be like, hey, if they got 17% increase, their
Yes.
are higher, we're all going to get an increase. So for people that are retired and are fixed income, their costs are going to increase significantly.
Let's talk about questions that people should ask when they're considering hard money, mortgages. Um, what investors should ask some of the following questions. What are they?
So they should ask about ability to repay. They should ask about any penalties when they come to pay off. They should ask questions about to themselves that the hard money is going to generate enough income for them that they can have an affordability, or have an exit. If somebody comes in and says, hey, I just need money, I don't know where my exit is or what I'm going to do with it, that's always a big red flag. We want people to come in here and have a plan of action. Okay, I'm going to get this money. What am I going to do with it? That's my first action. Second, what's going to be my exit? Either refinance or sell a property. Because if you sit in a hard money loan for, let's say, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, that's eating up at you. So at the end of the day, it's very calculated business. You have to have an exit plan. You can't be sitting there thinking, okay, I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do 10 years down the line. It's not a conventional loan. These are short-term loans to bridge a gap of need or a transaction to go ahead and better further your investment and your buying needs.
So they really need to know the total cost of borrowing.
Of course, with any transaction, even a car transaction, or if you go buy anything of value, you should always know what you're buying and what your cost is, and make sure you're getting a good deal. I grew up always negotiating. My parents taught me, hey, if somebody's trying to sell you something for $1, see if you can get a better price, right? It never hurts. All they can say is no. But if you all of a sudden get like a 10% reduction, you're paying 90 cents instead of $1. So it's always good to negotiate. And if you know what your cost is, you know what you can negotiate on.
Pouyan, we just got a text. I guess this is going to be a new potential client. They want to know your phone number and how to reach you. And I guess especially because you're saying how much they enjoy your show. Give everybody your phone number and your website.
Our phone number is 877-700-3703. And when you call in, just ask for Pouyan, Pouyan. Our website is CAL, CAL, hard, HARD, money, MONEY.com. There's links to chat with us online as well. If that's better, you could always email me at pouyan@calhardmoney.com. We usually try to get back to calls and emails as quickly as possible, and provide as much attention and customer service and loyalty as we can.
I think people can actually tell that just by listening to you. They had a follow-up question, which we get all the time, wanting if you could explain loan to value ratio.
Loan to value is the percentage of debt against a real estate value. So if a property is worth $1 million and somebody wants a $600,000 loan to value, that would be a 60% loan to value. It's a percentage of debt against a value of a property.
Could you walk people through the process for loan approval?
Absolutely. Yes. When somebody calls into us, the first thing that we like to do is listen to them, because we want to know where they want to go. And we can tailor a product to their specific needs. If somebody comes and says, hey, I need your loan for only a short amount of time, we'll give them a product that fits that short term. If somebody says, hey, I'm coming in here, but I need a longer term transaction, like 2 years or 3 years, we'll structure that loan in a way where it gives them the lower possible cost and gives them the most amount of benefit. We like to be a partner with somebody when doing a transaction, not as a partner as in we have vested interest in the property as the ownership. We want to be able to be a partner in a way where we're giving them our knowledge, and that knowledge is a value for them. And we also give them the financing. And if they have problems or they get stuck in a transaction in one of our loans, I want them to call us, because we're going to have a solution for them, or we'll give them our 2 cents as in what their next step should be to avoid any trouble issues that are coming up. Or if they're having hard time making the payments, we'll give them some options. If there's additional equity that we can tap, we'll give them additional capital to finish their project so they can go ahead and go straight to exit and be able to pay us off. They've made money, we've made money, everybody's made money, and everybody's happy at the table.
A friend of mine actually asked me, he's going to be calling you. he wanted to know, is this a good time to be flipping houses in the Los Angeles area?
I think it's always good to flip properties all over, not just blindly buying into a transaction, but if you can get into any deal at a value, let's say today market value on a piece of property is $300,000, and you're able to pick that property on the current value at 250, well, you just made $50,000. When you
Yes,
make money on the buy, you're generally not going to lose on a transaction. You might go over budget on a rehab or other parts of the transaction that you could, overpay for. But if you're buying, let's say, on a $50,000 discount, well, that gives you margin for error. And that's very important in any kind of real estate transaction, because things always come up, costs always get overrun, and there's issues that need to be dealt with: plumbing, electric, foundation, roof, that will need a little extra repair to get done. So it's very important to do an inspection out of a property, to know what you're going into, and try to minimize your cost overruns as much as possible.
I'm sure you get asked this a lot about flexibility if you want to pay off the loan earlier. Are there any penalties?
Usually there are penalties, but we can minimize that upfront, knowing what somebody needs. If somebody comes and says, "Hey, I need a 11-month loan," well, we can't straddle that person with a long prepayment penalty because there's no benefit to them. So what we do is we'll go ahead and increase the interest rate and the cost of the loan slightly to make it beneficial for the borrower, and we give them a lower exit plan so that when they come and pay off the loan, they're not hit with an additional fee, because we knew going into the transaction that they want a short prepayment penalty and they're not going to be in the loan for a very long time.
Do you have any type of restrictions on type of properties that you'll lend on?
We don't have any restrictions. We can do fix and flips, bridge loan, investment properties, some owner occupied transactions. We have flexibility to do a lot of different things. That's the good thing about coming to us. We've been in business for 17 years now, and have different programs to benefit everybody. Yes, some people, they come in and they're like, all right, I don't have any equity, I want a loan. Well, unfortunately, in those kind of situations when there's no equity, we can't give them a loan.
Right.
Those are the major limitation. But if somebody has equity and they have an ability and an exit plan, we always have a solution for them. And we'll give them our 2 cents. If sometimes we don't think that loan is right for them, we'll offer them to them just so they know what they can get. But at the same time, we'll be like, you're probably better off going and doing something else instead of taking our loan. But we still present them that loan.
I guess when it comes to hard money loans, speed is really important. That's a big advantage, isn't it?
Speed is the name of the game. People come to us because they need something done quickly. They don't want to just sit there for 30 to 45 days and then be turned down. The good thing with us is because we've done so many transactions, when somebody comes to us, we can go ahead and give them a reasonable amount of closing time, and so they know upfront what they should be expecting from us and how quickly we're going to be able to perform.
What are some of the criteria for property valuation?
We do, we use the standard appraisals to get valuation on current value and future value. In some cases, when somebody comes in with a significant amount of equity, we're able to determine value on a conservative basis and then not do an appraisal, because there is enough equity to protect us and we can do the loan without an appraisal.
I guess also it's really important that people find out if there's any additional cost or hidden fees at all.
When somebody comes to us and they submit their application to us and we're ready to commit to them, we give them a letter of intent. 99% of the time, the letter of intent that we give you, subject to no unforeseen circumstances, we perform on those terms, saying, hey, this is going to be your interest rate, this is going to be your program, this is going to be your cost, there isn't going to be anything additional, this is it. If you want it, sign over there and we'll take that paperwork and run with it and go to closing as quickly as possible.
It's, I guess the downside is, is explaining to people what happens if they default on the loan, because that's really important that they know that also.
Well, that's all given to them up front. We're not going to surprise with people. We don't want them to take a loan that they're not going to be comfortable with and they think they're going to go into foreclosure. If they're going to go into foreclosure and we see that up front, we usually don't want that. And we don't want people to go into foreclosure and losing their property. That's not the type of lender we are. We want people to achieve their goals, make money, and go on to their next transaction.
Gosh, Pouyan, how could anybody have any questions after you go through everything with them?
It's always a learning experience. I have questions to this day. There's a learning experience in the legal, regulatory changes on a regular basis. Every year there's changes, and we have to know those rules, and we need to always be on top of it. So education is the number one thing. Math, unfortunately, is scary for a lot of people, and we try to make the math as easy as possible to understand, so somebody gets comfortable with that and is not over stimulated with the math and be scared off the math.
We have a couple minutes left, and I really wanted to save this to the end. Tell people in your own words why they should come to your company.
People should come to us because we want to be your education. We want to be there to help you. We want to see you succeed in the real estate market, because the more you succeed, the more you're going to want to work with us. So we have a vested interest in your future, in your investments, in your ability to make money. The more money our clients make, the more success we're going to have in the long run. And like them, we're in this for a long run. We've been in this long run, and we plan to continue to be in this business for decades to come. We're not going anywhere. We're going to be funding loan transactions. We're funding loan transactions in this high rate environment. People are borrowing money, and we want to support people that have that growth mentality and want to expand on making money in real estate.
Well, you got a good show when you get 2 texts at the end of the show saying, "Why isn't the show longer?" That's when you know you got a great show. Let's give everybody your phone number and your website and your email address one more time.
Sure. The name of the company is PB Financial Group. Our phone number is 877-700-3707. My email is pouyan@calhardmoney.com, and the website is www.calhardmoney.com. You could also find us on Instagram, TikTok, and other social media, and YouTube, of course, with you, Steve, and on Ask the Experts.
And also, you can go to, if you want to just listen to the show, you can go into iHeart, the library, or Spotify under Ask the Experts, under Hard Money. You can go back and listen to the show. Pouyan's with us every month. I love doing your show. It's such an important area, and we're so lucky to have you. Pouyan, thank you so much, and we'll see you next month.
Sounds good. Thank you very much for having me,
buddy.
Steve. Appreciate it,
We
man.
love it.
Thank you. Bye.
And that'll do it for us today. We'll be back with you next month. I'm sorry, next week with more Ask the Experts. Thank you, Juan.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.